דברה פייגי בת שמואל, אולה דברה בת שמואל, אסתר רבקה בת אברהם מוניקה בת פני, מנחם מנדל בן אלחנן, רוח השם תנחם בגן עדן. גם רחם בצלחה, אהובה בת רבקה. רוח השם תנחם בגן עדן. You know, we're starting now the last parasha of the Sefer Bereshit. Parashat Vayechi. Life. Vayechi Yaakov. Yeah? So the Torah is telling us that Yaakov Avinu gets finally to Mitzrayim and is living the last years of his life in Egypt. And then we all know what happened. Yaakov Avinu wants to give Berachot and he's starting with Yosef and his sons, Ephraim and Menashe. But just at the moment that he brings the two kids, Yosef brings his two kids, Yaakov Avinu is asking, who are those guys? What do you mean, who are those guys? You know that Yosef has the kids. Says the Midrash, who are those guys that I'm seeing that for them, they're going to be two terrible tze'etzaim, two terrible rasha'im that are going to come out from them. One of them was Yerovam, I believe, and the other one was Ahav. Terrible rasha'im, kings of Israel, that they made not only them themselves, they did Avodah Zarah terribly, but they caused Avodah Zarah in the whole entire nation. Chotim umachtim. Says Yaakov, who are those kids? How it's possible that from them are going to be such a terrible disaster? And then the pasuk answers, Yosef answered back, Banayhem asher natani Elokim bazeh. Those are my kids, the Borei Olam gave it to me, and therefore, says Yaakov, oh, your kids, the Borei Olam gives you? Bring them over here, I want to bless them. What's going on over here? Yaakov is saying to Yosef, listen, I don't want to bless those kids because there is a terrible thing that is going to happen. Who are those kids? And Yosef says, what do you mean who are those kids? They're my kids. Ah, your kids? Yeah, I'll bring them. Not what it was. So it's so beautiful. You understand the question?
He changed his mind.
He changed his mind. Yeah. Yaakov Avinu is going to change his mind. So quick. Rabotai, the answer is very simple, but at the same time very deep. There is a Gemara. The Gemara writes something that we have to understand the deepness of this Gemara. The Gemara says, Bechol yom vayom, every single day, there is a voice that machrezet, that announces. Every single day there is a spiritual voice that announces something. Imagine, today you open up those iPhones that we have, all type of news, they have to change the news. If they're going to repeat the same news every time, it's going to be boring. No one is going to watch them, right? But the Olam is announcing every single day the same thing. Have to be there. It's very important, and it's very actual. What is announcing? Says the Gemara, there are three people. That these three people, they're holding in the most high levels that a human being can hold. Who are those three people? Number one, a young boy that is not married and is able to keep his body and his eyes clean. Number one. Number two, a poor man who doesn't have money and is ready to work and is ready to give tzedakot and is ready to fulfill mitzvot even though he doesn't have money. He's ready not to steal. And the third one, a person who is very, very rich and he still cares about the mitzvah of tzedakah and he gives it with all his heart. Those are the three people that the Gemara writes. I have to remember the Lashon in the Gemara. Bline that I will give it to you. Three people that Borei Olam announced them every single day. Do you know what it's written over here? It's written that when Yosef heard from Yaakov, who are those kids? Says Yosef, Daddy, do you remember what happened to me? 22 years alone by myself in Egypt. All my surrounding, worse than Las Vegas. All my surrounding, Averot, non-stop. The only Jew in Egypt. Me and my wife, Asenat. And to be able to raise kids in the way of Torah, having such a tum'ah, don't take it for granted. Banayim, the same way that I was ready to stand against the whole Mitzrayim and to keep myself clean, they are my kids. They're keeping the same thing as me. Banayim, asher natani Elokim bazeh. Says Yaakov, aha, that's the case. Kachaimna elai v'avarichem. If they're holding like you, doesn't matter what's going to be later. Right now they're tzaddikim, bringing them to me, I want to bless them. You know, the Arizal was a great Chacham. Before I tell you the story about the Arizal, someone came up to me once and told me, Rabbi, I have a very deep question. So tfaddal. He says, Rabbi, come on, tell me the truth. Emet. Do you know in the past, in the history, how many tzaddikim Am Yisrael had? So I think I know. And told me, do you know how many times in the story of the of the Jewish people, how many generations, not only of tzaddikim, but the whole generation were Talmidei Chachamim, learning Torah, working for Avodat Hashem? Do you know how many of those happened? Yes, I know. So now he looks at me and he tells me, Rabbi, if in those generations Mashiach didn't come, do you think that Mashiach is going to come in our generation? Do you know what's going on outside the street? And I'm not talking about Goyim. I'm talking also about, especially about Jews. Do you know what's going on around the world? And he started to give me examples. I had to stop him. Said, enough. Terrible things that if you hear them, you say, Bar minan. If it is in drugs, if it is in not being loyal, if it is terrible, terrible things. So he asked me, do you think that Mashiach is going to come in our generation? What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
So here comes the story of the Arizal. The Arizal had a student. The main student of the Arizal, his name was Rabbi Chaim Vital. Right? He was the one that took all the learning, all the teachings of the Arizal, and he wrote it down. Marhu. The Arizal, once, he started to speak about Rabbi Chaim Vital. Amazing things. And he started to say, Rabbi, do you know who is this student of mine? And he started to tell him which levels in Shamayim he's holding and which halak in Olam Haba he's going to get and how many malachim are going to come and are going to receive him after 120. Believe me, only that is a new. The Marhu was hearing that, Rabbi Chaim Vital was hearing that. He got scared. Listen, the rabbi is going too much. I think he's exaggerating. So he waited, and then he went to his rabbi. And he told him, Chacham, there are much bigger tzaddikim, not in my generation. All the generations, you want to tell me that are going to be even higher than them? It's impossible. You know what that is the answer? That is, I told him, the answer is a yes. Because Borei Olam is not looking to compare you with other generations. Borei Olam is looking to compare you right now in your spot with your surrounding. Where are you holding today? Say Chachamim, when a Jew fulfill a mitzvah in our generation, Rabotai, with our Yetzer Hara, it's even much greater than all the mitzvot that all those tzaddikim were fulfilling in their generation with the last Yetzer Hara. There was a story of a rabbi. He was the mechaber of the Sefer Techeret Mordechai. When he was a young fellow, he got sick with a very, very delicate sickness. He lost his conscience. He was rushed to the hospital. And they were giving him a few hours. They told the family, Habibi, it's over. The guy is living. One of the brothers went to one of the Rabbanim. And he told him, Chacham, please, Beracha, my younger brother is going to die. And the rabbi asked him, which married does he have? He says, Rabbi, my brother, my young brother, you don't know him. He's a guy that sits and learns a lot. What about his Torah? The rabbi said, okay, I'm going to pray for him. Rabotai, this man, the Techeret Mordechai, he woke up. And when he woke up, he said, I was up. And in Shemayim, they were judging me. And they brought all the Torah that I was learning. He said, listen, how many mitzvot this guy is doing? Unbelievable. He doesn't deserve such a tragedy. Let's bring him down back. And then he said, and then he have Mekatregim that came up. Mekatregim are those type of angels that are talking negative about the person. And he says, what are you talking about? They said, you want us to take his Torah and to show that this Torah doesn't worth anything? How are they going to show it? Very simple. Learning Torah, what are you thinking at the moment that you're learning Torah? How many businesses are passing in your head? I see it. How many times I'm holding in a shiur, and then I see, we're learning whatever we're learning, and then I see the guy, yeah, Rabbi, I'm hearing you. Don't worry. Every word, watching inside the phone. The Mekatragim were saying to the Techeret Mordechai, Habibi, if we want, we're going to take all your Torah to the garbage. And then he said that there was a rabbi that showed up. And this rabbi said to the Mekatragim, shh, be quiet. You're trying to compare with Torah of other generations, or you're trying to compare with the Torah and the Yetzirah of this generation? And they have nothing what to answer, and they bring him down. Rabotai, the Techeret Mordechai writes this story, I believe it in his own book. And he says, I got saved only in the merit that today, in our generation, with our Yetzirah, I'm able to pass the challenges. That's Yosef, and that's Menashe and Ephraim. And that's why, what's the beracha that we're giving to our kids? Yesimcha Elohim ke Ephraim v'kim Menashe. Why did they choose these two guys? You know how many tzaddikim Yaakov had? Issachar and Zevulun. He had Yehuda. Why Ephraim and Menashe? Because Rabotai, this is not taught only for the time of the Torah. It's until today we have to believe in ourselves, in our kids. You want to give a beracha to your kids? You have to believe in him. The what? That yes, he's having Yetzirah. Yes. Yes, he's in challenge. But at the same time, you believe that he's going to be able to pass the challenges, because Borei Olam cannot put a challenge to a person that he cannot pass it. So, Rabbi, I'm going already too much of a time. But just to take this point, Borei Olam is not looking quantity, he's looking quality. How much you're really ready to give. Just want to finish with a very quick story. In Eretz Israel, there was a boy that unfortunately, there was a girl that unfortunately wasn't getting married. I think I told you the story, I'm not sure. And this girl went to a seminary, Shabbaton. You know what's a Shabbaton? Shabbaton. Now, her grade, she wasn't the only one that she didn't get married. And I'm talking about religious girls getting into an age of 26, 27. Hazit. They're sitting down in the Shabbaton, and the girls are asking from the rabbi, we're all holding in the same page. We're looking for a shidduch. Rabbi, I don't know, give us, some words of chizuk. Help us out, sometimes we can break ourselves. It's very hard. You go for a date and then they say no to you, and another date and they say no to you, and you don't see the end. The rabbi said, you know what? I'm going to give you something that my rabbi told me. Who is this rabbi? The rabbi of this rabbi. Rabbi David Abu Chatzera from Nahariya. Whoever heard about him is the nephew of the Baba Sadi. Right? Rabbi David Abuhatzera is a great Mekubal in our generation. And Rabbi David Abuhatzera told this rabbi, he told him, listen, I want to give you segula for those that wants to get married. What's the segula, Rabbi? It's a tough one. Be ready. It's a tough one. He says, girls, you're girls, religious girls. You're girls that you're holding in Torah and mitzvot, that you go to shiurim, that you go to seminaries. Do you know how much of a time you're wasting every single day in one thing? What? It's called a phone. Smartphone. Do you know how much time you're wasting? Do you know how many things improper you're watching because of that smartphone? The segula that Rabbi David Abuhatzera told this rabbi, and he said to the rabbi, I commit to myself that whoever will be ready to give up from this phone. I'm not saying that we're all holding in that level, but I'm just bringing this for the next message. He told these girls, whoever you will be ready to give up this phone, I promise that this year they will all get married. The rabbi gave the shiur, was Motzei Shabbat of that Shabbaton. Rabotai, you know the rabbi? The rabbi told me, every single one of those girls, until the end of the year, next year, all of them get married. What happened? How come? The answer is called Mesirut Nefesh. I'm not telling you to throw up the phone, not at all. But I'm telling you, each one of us have his own Mesirut Nefesh. You have your Mesirut Nefesh if it is to come to shul, if it is to fulfill a certain mitzvah, if it is to dedicate yourself in the learning of Torah an hour per day. Every single one of us have his own Mesirut Nefesh. And the rabbi, and it's not the rabbi, Chachamim are teaching us, whenever a Jew will be ready to give Mesirut Nefesh, whatever problem he will have, Borei Olam is going to show his face to give him salvation at the end. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.